We're back in DayZ, and the 1.08 update has arrived kind of randomly. I thought there'd be more of a delay on getting this one released on the platform, but alas, here we go. And there are a number of interesting features here. So we're going to quickly go over some of the big ones, and then also dive into generally the changelog towards the end of this. So the last visibly unfinished area of Chernars, the St. Roman Ski Resort, and the adjacent biathlon arena in the northwestern part of the South Zagoria have been finished. Additionally, static vehicle wrecks for all currently available drivable cars were added to the map. These replaced old vehicle wrecks and allowed the spawn of abandoned rusty parts on the map, just like Livonia had. So yeah, generally, big improvements in regards to having a little bit of a new space, and the car wreckage makes the areas feel a little bit more natural and full, at least in my opinion, and we did see this from the experimental build. So the biathlon shooting range would not be complete without some proper low-caliber sport rifle. So that is the Sporter 22 rifle, which is making its comeback. It's a neat semi-automatic .22 rifle. Can load either 15 or 30 round magazines and has the option to attach a hunting scope to it, if that's sort of your thing. So they also reworked the sway and hold breath behavior, which should make dynamic long-range engagements a little bit easier. So they've also taken a deep look at base building in this update, changing the way raiding works. Fences and watchtowers are now destructible using only... Oh, somebody's actually dead here. Let's quickly take that using only melee attacks, firearms, or explosives. So that's kind of helpful. Objects now have a visual damage indicator to them. Tents are also now destructible, and you can see the states of the damaged tents. So that's a bit of a nice swap up in that regard. Oh, there we go. And I guess another kind of good thing to talk about, since we are somewhat in the vicinity of this thing, you can see they kind of open that, is the addition of the fact that there is now in-depth fireplaces, and the old cooking slots have been revamped. They've added the frying pan again, they added a disposable lighter and a new type of interior fireplace to the game, so that's what you're kind of seeing there. I should also mention that I did see on the comment thread that there were a lot of notes that people were having, crashes with their consoles, so that is apparently being looked at. And they were having issues with the community servers not working, and I guess that's a Nitrado thing, so the server host has to, reset the servers, so that's kind of on their end. And I'm assuming this stuff will be dealt with quickly. If you did come across any issues, I'd be fascinated to hear about them, so that I can kind of go over it in the future. But yeah, I should also mention before we dive into the changelog that I will definitely be doing an updated review of the game in the near future after I've played it a bit. Possibly a live stream if people are interested in seeing this in more in depth. And just, the typical sort of DayZ things we do, or I do with each of these updates, in order to showcase the game and everything like that. Sounds like there's a lot of possible zombie issues. So we talked about the Sporter 22. It's also got some attachments that were added as well. So, that's interesting. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's try this again. I almost got this. I like the old glitch where they used to get, stuck outside. There we go. Now I don't have to deal with those guys. So they added the lighter, which we talked about. I also showed that in the experimental. Maybe we'll come across one today. They added the frying pan, so that's kind of a cool new option in the game. Kind of great to see that. Direct cooking slots on the oven and indoor stove allow us to place pots and pans or food directly. Cooking equipment, kindling, and fire fuel can now be used to create a fireplace. At the indoor stove or fireplace, items can now be attached directly to the fireplace. Well, obviously. Interactive indoor stove. Skavich, Biathlon Arena, the St. Roman Ski Lodge. Yeah, we talked about those. The new locations on the map. Not a huge deal, but, it's kind of an interesting sort of option to be present within, the game in general. New car wrecks, which we talked about. A character sounds for running out of breath. I think that's a good idea, so that you can kind of know, your character how they're doing and everything like that, and it also gives you an indicator of people that you're like hunting and stuff are, you know, tired in that. I think it's a good addition in that regard. Storage containers, barrels, crates, chests can now be destroyed by explosives, gunfire, and melee damage. Tents, watchtowers, and fences can be destroyed by explosions, gunfire, and melee damage. Tents, watchtowers, and fences can be repaired using tools and material. Ruined containers and tents will drop their contents onto the ground. Canopy tent, along with color variants, is now added to the game, so that's just like a slightly different tent that you can kind of roll up. Again, I kind of showed that within my experimental video on Xbox, because I got DayZ Experimental, so you can actually download that at any point if you own the game in order to, I guess you could see how the progress and development is ongoing for the game if you didn't know about that. Color variants have been added for the medium tent, and color variants for the ballistic helmet have been added. Server info in-game, so that's a PC feature, and the ability to pull dead bodies out of vehicles. So that's extremely helpful if you eliminate someone that's in a vehicle and you want to take it for yourself, which is just, you know, general things. So they got a lot of fixes. We're going to kind of go over that. Game crash related to base building, server errors related to throwing, several optimizations when it comes to building collisions, several map issues on Janaris and Livonia, an exploit to look through walls using the compass. Loading internal magazines of weapons did not work across multiple stacks of ammunition. No sound was played when skinning something with the machete. That must have been a little bit of a haunting kind of thing to be doing and not hearing that sound. I guess the sound's kind of a little bit haunting too. Bottles and canteens are now spawning with random amounts of water in them. Score! Sounds weren't playing when filling up a bottle or canteen, such as a lake or a gas station. Repositioning the cable reel could break the hand slot and cause desynchronization. Ooh, nobody likes the desynchronization. Close this up. There's never anything in these buildings here. Box headlight bulb. It's kind of useless. Character was not forced to stand up when switching from a one-handed to a heavy item in hands. Oh, causing some glitches. That's kind of interesting. There's a weird zombie there. I'm going to kind of quickly go through this stuff. Horticulture, water plant fertilize actions would still not be shown after they were executed. Reloading immediately after shooting with the repeater would sometimes not work. Starting to shoot during firearm melee could cause rapid firing. Extremely rapid firing, apparently. When waking up from unconsciousness in a car, a player could be teleported to an unspecified location. That's funny. Characters had misplaced items in hands and were stuck in a sitting position after becoming unconscious while entering a vehicle. It was possible to drive a car with a dead battery. The player can now remove car attachments while another player is sitting in the vehicle. It was possible to get out of the vehicles too close to walls. A limping character was unable to enter the shooting gallery in amusement parks. Swapping light and heavy items while prone could glitch animations. It was possible to light a fire with an empty matchbox. Trying to chamber an already loaded weapon could break the weapon. Rotation of human meat when attached on the long stick. Again, these are all fixed things, quite a bit of them. Some environmental actions could be triggered regardless of height difference. The fireplace could be ignited underwater. Igniting kindling would create the resulting fireplace right under the player. It was possible to destroy the barrel fireplace by burying ashes action. Well, by using that action. Burying ashes was possible on concrete surfaces. Fireplace effects, particles, and sounds were not cleaned up on clients when the fireplace leaves the network bubble. Water boiling effects were stuck on the cooking pot even when the water boiled off. Cooking equipment effects were present even when the fireplace went out. Damaged materials for barrels and fire barrels were not applied properly. Watchtower top roof did not have collisions. Items could not be placed on the upper watchtower levels. The watchtower was not producing the right footstep sounds. When a gate with barbed wire attached was opened, the damage would be still applied to its original position. Ruined barbed wire could be mounted on a fence. Traps are now also triggered by animals and the infected. Finally, sunshaft effect was not present over the course of the day. Character desynchronization when a player would log in close to another player was taking an item in hands at that moment. It was not possible to take an item from the hands of a dead player. Yay! After committing suicide, the tools used were desynchronized and could not be activated with several synchronization issues related to inventory, quick bar, and slot reservation. Several character issues with going unconscious while swimming. Wow, that's a weird one. Issues with the ladder in the lighthouse. The character could get stuck in the climbing animation when attempting to leave the ladder. The infected would not follow the player on the harbor pier. Faulty hit registration when hitting multiple components within the same damage zones. The player was able to open their inventory during the surrender gesture. Dried zucchini was missing textures. Several localization issues. Heavy items could be stacked to float in the air. Various issues with the weapons becoming unstable after performing an action and interrupt the action at the same time. Specialized bullets could in certain situations be transformed into standard rounds. Tactical gloves were positioned at the player's feet when held in hands. Character and server names were not cut after a certain length when displayed in the main menu UI. Loot on Olga Rack's interior seats was inaccessible. Damage on barrels was not visible from distance. Attached materials could end up in the wrong watchtower slot. Incorrect HUD info about your weapon being jammed after reconnect. Restraining could be used to recharge items in hands. I think a lot of people found that helpful. It was possible to stack some items over its limits within the player's inventory. Client performance could severely decrease when colliding with a stone oven during the state of fire. A possible server crash. The player could become too hot when entering certain buildings. Weight was not properly updated when soaked with water. Ruined ammo could be loaded into magazines. Using the shovel to dig logs from the fence or watchtower base could result in the logs disappearing. Interrupting the wash hands action will complete the action immediately. Oh, that would have been helpful. It was not possible to sprint under a certain level of stamina. Pop sound when approaching a vehicle. Trying to jump out of the Gunter 2 would result in the character getting stuck. It was not possible to jump out of a green ATA 4x4 back seat. Blood bags with known blood type will keep the information when combined with an IV kit. The one-handed suicide had an improper positioning of the tool. So now we've got just a pile of more kind of things. We're not going to talk about the modding though specifically because that's not really something for console. And even then, I don't think these necessarily apply to the server. I'm going to quickly go over the known issues. After updating your service to the new version, it's highly recommended to restart the server. Kind of talked about that briefly at the beginning. As part of the fix, the stairs on platforms connected to base fences will switch sides, and mini freezes could occur. So these are the server changes. Server config parameters disable base damage and disable container damage, setting them to 1 will disable damage and destruction on relevant items. Parameters necessary for idle mode. And personal nightlight is by default deactivated. Alright, so they changed some things. They changed holding the breath sway pattern behavior. The breath stamina consumption is now non-linear. Fireplace ignition action won't show up if the conditions to light a fire are not met, aka too windy or too wet. Fireplaces under exterior roofs will ignore rain and wind factors. The stone oven is immune to rain and wind effects. Items in the fireplace cargo will get damaged and eventually removed when the fireplace burns. The fireplace stone circle is no longer built automatically and cannot be carried with stones attached. The fireplace bark slots merged into one bark slot. The fireplace with a stone circle has a lifetime of 2 days. The stone oven lasts 7 days. Refreshed by interacting with it. Reduce fireplace, tripod inventory size, and visuals. The barrel fireplace can be ignited anywhere except in water, but can douse when it is raining. The fireplace barrel can now be carried after the fire went out, can be carried with ashes. Tent windows, walls, and windows have their state persistent over server restarts. Barrels and fire barrels have their lid state persistent over server restarts. Splitting one large stone produces 3 small stones. Oh, good. Wringing out clothing now dries clothing faster, 1 level per cycle. Bark requires less size in the inventory. Wooden crates can now be dismantled. Ruined items cannot receive attachments or items in their cargo. Combination of items also calculate health of the final stack. Improved vehicle stability in closed spaces. And vehicle brake power is now increased over time instead of instantly. It should now be easier to find action widgets on base building objects. Disabled the crafting of the spear for now. Oh, come on. Why? Why would you? Ugh. The temperature tool tip label no longer shows the accurate temperature in the inventory. The escape menu is no longer automatically opened after death in multiplayer. When a player is aware of their own blood type, it automatically gets added to blood bags when the player fills its own blood. Performance optimization for the watchtower. The wooden logs of the fence/watchtower can be dismantled regardless of the direction. The destroy action has been disabled on all relevant tools because of balance reasons. Barbed wire attachment slots for the fence and watchtower were moved to the material pile rather than left outside. Updated the textures of several farm/industrial objects, better resolution and visuals. Raindrop sounds are now played on player-made tents. The landmine now explodes when destroyed, regardless of the arm's state. Ballistic properties of metal walls on the fence/watchtower to be much better at protecting against projectiles. Base building dismantle action now returns the materials according to the damaged state of the deconstructed part. The fireplace lights now fade by distance based on the type of the fireplace. The fireplace cannot be ignited in interior space with a ceiling height of below 5 meters. Fireplace values for ignition, heating, cooling, and fuel consumption. These are tweaked, by the way, these new ones. Everything else before was changed. Fireplace values for ignition, cooling, fuel consumption, which we just said. Again, tweaked. Fireplace objects, except fire barrel, are now indestructible, but they're going to tackle that in a different update. The stone oven requires 16 large stones to be built. The stone circle 8. When creating the stone oven, the opening now faces the player. Crafting the fireplace barrel takes longer and damages the knife more. Reduce the inventory size of lard. Reduce the inventory size of small stones. It was possible to break down the ash tree like a regular bush. Plum and pear can now be attached to the long stick. Increase crafting cost of the wooden crate. Particles for boiling water are now raising slower and less vertical. Cooking on the long stick is now disabled for the barrel fireplace. New direct cooking slots on top of the barrel are available instead. Particles on the indoor fireplace, primarily to address clipping with surroundings. Collisions on the indoor fireplace, primarily, which we just talked about. Combination lock will drop when important parts of the gates are destroyed. Collisions on fence/watchtower lower walls, making shooting/aiming behind them easier. Player swings the carp now when attacking with it. The carp. Improved texture compression for the reduced file size. Reduced noise of the MK11 or 2 or whatever it's called. Collisions of medium tent to allow easier entrance and exiting. Some grenades will no longer get deleted immediately when they run out of gas. The dismantle action now takes longer and damages tools more. Remove the stone mining action from the hammer. Soda can no longer be used to wash hands. Oh, come on! Shorten the lifetime of weapon smoke particle emitters. Attached slot for books in the fireplace inventory. Fake inventory attachment slot compared to the, or for the spare wheel, the Olga 24. Stacking of small and large stones outside the fireplace. So they did adjust some of the central economy as well. They abandoned car parts in setup, only available car wrecks. New usage flag, the Luna Park, for item spawns within amusement parks. Pristine car parts now have 0 nominal. The Hesco box now has 0 nominal in a very short lifetime. Reduce the chance to get food from the infected. Oh, what? That's the only way people were getting food. Reduce the lifetime of the underground stash to 14 days. Increase the number of spotlights. Increase the lifetime of bear traps and landmines to 7 days. Increase the lifetime of the CR527. Grenades now have restock value. Metal plates spawn in randomized quantities now. Tents now have a container category and restock value. Medical items now spawn with random quantity. Reduced number of cooking pots and removed restock value. Reduced number of matchboxes. Matchboxes now spawn with random quantity. Increased number of barbed wire. Increased minimal quantity of 3.57 ammo piles. 9 by 19 ammo piles are now exclusive to town and village. Reduced the number of .22, .38, 762 by 39, 762 by 54, and 9 by 19 ammo piles in the world. So it's going to be even harder to find ammo now. Mows and compensators now available in hunting areas only. Reduce the chance for a field backpack to appear uninfected. They removed the rag for medical tools cargo preset. They fixed the wrong category for field mushrooms and the wrong category for pelts. Livonia also has a brief little tweak. The Hesco box now 0 nominal or lifetime. All these like basically the same as the other one. Yeah, that's basically the same as the other one. So that's the gist of the update, so that's kind of neat. I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts on, what you think of this update. I think it adds a lot of things, but it seems, well, it doesn't add a whole lot, but I think it tweaks a number of things and gives us a number of fixes and good features. I don't know if it's quite what people were looking for. I'm not sure. I was really hoping for something a little bit more wildly different, but it's nice to have a different spot to visit and some new adjustments to the overall package and the experience. I think they did fine with this update. I mean, again, a lot of fixes, a lot of tweaks. I don't know if they're all great tweaks, they're all helpful, but they've kind of definitely changed the cooking style of the game. It's, you know, every time that we have certain things, it seems like they go in like a wildly different direction in terms of the content for the next update. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but like, you know, sometimes they fix unnecessary things in that. Did I just knock that guy through the wall? Oh, that's glitchy. Anyways, we get some good supplies off this guy. Hopefully I didn't kill him, because I don't think he needs to really die, but I'm also gonna take his shoes off him because I'm terrible like that. He had a crate too. That's cool. And I'm gonna put his shoes upstairs. I don't know if he's dead or not, but now he's lost everything, so should have not left your character idling. It's kind of funny. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to add some more stuff to kind of pad in the beginning there, but yeah, it's interesting. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on, you know, how the state of the game is and everything like that, and stay tuned for, you know, something focusing on just kind of like definitely a review again of what the update provided, and then past that maybe like a live stream kind of going over everything and hopefully reaching maybe the ski lodge, which would be really cool. I'd also really like to do maybe another performance update if people are interested in that, to see how it's running now. And I think that's the gist of it. If you notice any cool features and stuff in the game that weren't on the list of things, you know, definitely let me know, because I am always definitely intrigued to hear about those, because they hide things in each update, and I think that's kind of neat. I am, like, seriously outnumbered here.